Well, it's been almost 2 weeks since we last did this. I apologize that it's been this long, and, it's hopefully for the fact that I seem a bit more rested. I hope I am, and we're gonna definitely get things going and pick up from where we left off, as there's definitely a lot going on, especially in wrestling. And if you saw SummerSlam over the weekend, Raw last night, you know what I'm talking about real well. We'll get into a little bit of that here in a moment, but we're going to get right into things and actually talk about one Shane McMahon. And it's funny because, over the last several months we've had a lot of, well, I shouldn't say months, but last several weeks we've had a lot of talk going around about the possibility of Shane McMahon heading to AEW, which is starting to seem more and more like an inevitability now. I mean, we now actually have photo evidence of Shane and Tony Khan speaking at, I think it was an airport but, I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself at this point. Not only that, it also turns out that Shane, of course, to the surprise of nobody, really actually tried to get back into WWE. And why wouldn't he? I think he still has an awful lot to offer for any company, and it's not even just as an in-ring performer, but I think he has some stuff creatively that he could offer. Now, the only issue there is that him and Triple H have been known to clash over the years, and just have never really seen eye to eye on anything. So, well, really a lot of things where WWE is concerned, but obviously, as long as Triple H has anything to say about it, that's just, we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of Shane McMahon, if any, and they seem to have wanted to move on. Now, of course, it's just only a matter of time before we get the graphic of Shane McMahon as All Elite, and we'll see what happens from there. But it just seems as though we're getting closer and closer to that point, and I don't know, I find it really, really interesting that the subject has picked up as much momentum as it has, but we're getting closer to getting it, I think. So we'll see what happens from there, but between then and now, we're actually going to move on into a little bit of Monday Night Raw, as I mentioned before. Odyssey Jones actually made his debut after being drafted. I don't remember if it was this most recent draft or if it was 2 drafts ago. Either way, we're finally getting him like we finally got Camille on AEW. I mean, I don't know any other way to look at that, but what a way to come in. I mean, he comes in helping out the New Day against the Final Testament, where Akam and Razor just seem to have been having their way, but then from out of nowhere, Odyssey Jones comes up, and Xavier gets the roll-up. I think it was on Akam for the 1-2-3. And man, I found this incredibly interesting, that this is something that would be the case. And it wasn't just me that found it interesting, at least kayfabe-wise. It was also really surprising and perplexing to one Xavier Woods. Now, this is really something to have your eyes on. Is have the seeds that have been planted by Karrion Kross actually going to start taking effect finally? I mean, wow. I mean, they literally brought in seemingly a Big E replacement. And interestingly enough, you check Twitter, Big E himself actually approves. I mean, that's kind of sad to say, given that we don't know if or even when, I should say when or even if, we're going to get Big E back. But if we don't, we're getting Big Odyssey. I mean, this is going to be really interesting to see where all of this goes. I gotta say, this was a really huge surprise, especially coming out of SummerSlam, which I thought came together just flawlessly. I just can't think of anything bad to say at all. Even for a lot of the things that were expected to unfold storyline-wise, i.e. the Judgment Day double turns, I really can't even say I have any problems with that at all, because it was executed flawlessly. McAfee called Dominic a piece of shit. I mean, it was just incredible to watch, and to see them pick up from where they left off, especially with the main event of the Wyatt Six against what's now dubbed as American Made, with Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, and apparently Ivy Nile, I guess, but which I've had thoughts on that. We're going to talk about that in another video, by the way. But yeah, I mean, all these things that came together, this is a highlight for me, because we were wondering if we were going to get him. We weren't sure if he was going to go the way of a Dijak, who was also drafted to Raw, also likely headed to AEW. I don't know. I mean, but this for me is nothing but a great thing. I'm looking forward to where this goes. Not even just for the storyline, but we got Odyssey. You can't go wrong with Odyssey Jones. That's all I'm going to say about that. That being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about something that, really, it doesn't matter which way you slice it up. You can't go wrong either way. Lucha Brothers. Seems both of them are going to be headed to WWE when their contracts expire. I don't know how things are going as far as AEW is concerned in terms of storyline or anything. I did miss the recent episode of Dynamite. I'm still yet to watch that. There are a lot of things, I mean, like I said, the things you got to sacrifice for rest, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that another time. Either way, this is going to be really, really huge the moment that this goes down, because you not only got Motor City Machine Guns coming into WWE, but you also got the Lucha Brothers. I expect both teams to be on NXT, but very, very short term. They're definitely going to help with the tag division. I mean, the reason it's going to be short term is because of all the stuff they have with TNA right now. I mean, tonight you got Joe Oh, God. I was going to fuck up. Joe Gacy, who was actually in last night's main event on Raw. Joe... Say his name and he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I don't know why I was messing that up so badly. I don't know how I could mess that up so badly. But you got Joe Hendry and Joe Coffey on NXT tonight with the Great American Bash. I gotta say, I think that you're going to see even more influx with TNA, which is what makes me believe that this is going to be short term. And this also works, especially when it comes to Motor City Machine Guns, and actually the Lucha Bros too, because they do have history with TNA as well. But you'll see that crossover, and that'll be good for probably 2 or 3 months or so before they both wind up on the main roster. I'd say Guns probably on SmackDown, Lucha Bros on Raw, or maybe vice versa. Just, I don't know. It's really, really interesting. I think Lucha Bros would be likely to head to Raw, just for the fact that you put them with the LWO with Ray, and of course you got Dragon Lee emerging, or at least he should be anyway. I mean, you don't see as much of him. You got Zelina, who just went out with injury about a week or so ago. So I gotta imagine once they start building LWO back up, these dudes would be a part of it. So yeah, with that in mind, those are certainly things that I'm looking forward to. But let me know what y'all think. I gotta do my best. Stephen A. Smith, did ya miss me? Did ya miss me? But you know, I missed y'all, so I had to get back on to things, and we're gonna get back more on with things a little bit later on. Certainly expect me to be a little bit cleaner shaven, hopefully by tomorrow. And with that in mind, I thank y'all for coming through, checking me out, even though I do have these little breaks that I take in between. But with that in mind, again, thank you for coming through. If you enjoyed, y'all know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think down below. I am A&J, and of course there will be more.